Also, hi, YouTube. Hello, YouTube. Hi. One-to-one Spanish speakers and furry. One-to-one ratio Spanish speakers or furries. Are all my Spanish speakers in here furries? That's wild. But okay. Ever since Donald Trump left office, I was wondering one thing. When will the Republicans be finally done with him? It's a really important thing. Donald Trump whipped the entire party into a complete frenzy. Donald Trump unified the Republican Party to some extent. At least he unified the base a lot more than a lot of mainstream Republicans thought that he did. Now, we talk a lot about how Democrats say one thing and they actually support the other. And we talk about how a lot of the conservatives, especially voters, get screwed over by their politicians time and time and time again. They worry about the culture war. They worry about all this sort of stuff and their politicians have them focus on that when and have their voters like look out their windows for the next time a taco truck rolls by, when they roll out the back door with their children's future and their savings in their hand, right? The Republicans do. I think a lot of normie Republicans felt like something was going wrong with the Republican Party, and that's why they wanted to switch to someone like Trump. Really, I don't think they like their normal politicians nearly as much. They want them to be harder, right? They want them to be something different. And even though a lot of Republicans, as Trump was coming up and running through the ranks, as he was doxing Lindsey Graham, yes, he did literally dox Lindsey Graham. He when he was running in 2015, Lindsey Graham he said that Lindsey Graham gave him his phone number, and so he just like pulled it out of his pocket and then read it out loud in front of an entire crowd that he was speaking at, as he was calling Ted Cruz's wife ugly and Marco Rubio stupid and all of this sort of stuff that he was doing. That's what Republicans want. That's what your mainstream Republicans voters, that's what they want. They weren't like the Republicans then. They are like the Republicans now. I don't think the Republicans have changed much more than they have just embraced who they actually are, the voters. The very curious thing is that the mainstream Republican politicians, talking heads, were almost never on the Trump train when he was coming up. Charlie Kirk.
He's going to bring the party together when just, I think, what was it, a week ago, he publicly retweeted an image that went directly after the spouse of Senator Ted Cruz. I don't understand how he thinks he's going to bring the party together when in an interview with CNN, he keeps on calling Ted Cruz Lion Ted. I don't think that's exactly the uniter that you want. And look, last night, it was laughable, his appearance on Chris Matthews. Are you kidding me? This is the guy that's going to bring the party together, that says women should be punished because they pursued an abortion. This guy is I think he's self-destructing in front of us. You see it in the polling in Wisconsin. You see it in the polling in California. I would say right now, it's a 50-50 chance that Donald Trump walks out of Cleveland with the nomination.
It's very curious that he had all of that stuff to say when Trump was running for president, huh? That's very weird that he would say something like that. Lindsey Graham. Actual Lindsey Graham. Back in the day, back in 2016, if we nominate Trump, we will get destroyed and we will deserve it. Actual Lindsey Graham. Wild. Wild stuff. Now, I don't know. It may be all of them. Maybe all of them have had a spine cord removal surgery and it went perfectly fine. But that's how they really feel about Donald Trump. Way down deep. That's how they always felt about Donald Trump. Ben Shapiro doesn't even pretend. Ben Shapiro still hates Donald Trump. We'll talk about that soon. And it seems like they can't hold on to that facade of liking Donald Trump for much longer. It's very interesting. It's very curious, right? Especially with the investigation going on about Donald Trump. It's forcing Republicans off script again. Remember, we're 2 months away from an election.
We come together.
Thank you, Bernie. We're 2 months away from an election. Republicans don't want to be running on Donald Trump again. Republicans want to be running on, taking away your Social Security, torturing migrants so they don't want to come into the country, bombing the Middle East, making sure that poor people don't have proper water to drink, stuff like that. That's what they want to be running on. Unfortunately, they have to run on Donald Trump again. And there's a lot of anger about what Donald Trump's been doing to the party by Republican operatives and by those same exact people who pretend to be his top supporters when actually they've always just been rats on a ship, and now the ship's starting to sink. Even Rupert Murdoch, which is the owner of Fox News and the person who runs Fox News, it's been talked about how he's finally done. He's sick of Donald Trump, right? And this is well known that Fox News has fallen out of love with Donald Trump because they snubbed his speeches. Every single time Donald Trump speaks now, when he goes on speeches, when he goes on tour, when he does like stump speeches, stuff like that, Fox News doesn't care anymore. Fox News doesn't care at all anymore. They don't they don't cover him anymore. They barely talk about him anymore. And they walk a really fine line. And you're starting to see it. They're starting to understand that as much as Trump was the sort of honeymoon cool guy back when he was elected, a lot of people, even in the Republican Party, have soured on him a lot. And we've been seeing a lot of that breakage, especially during the 2020 election. Georgia has 2 Democratic senators. That's insane. Georgia has 2 Democratic senators because of Trump. Arizona has 2 Democratic senators because of Trump. That's insane. That shouldn't happen. That shouldn't be something that exists. But because of Trump, the party is splitting itself apart. As they're trying to rip apart the country for him, they're ripping themselves apart in the process. Trump is finally giving back. Yeah, I mean, you can say that he's giving back, but it seems like a lot of Republican operatives would disagree because now they're starting to ask. Karl Rove, a massive Republican strategist, wrote this piece in the Wall Street Journal. Where do Trump's donations go? He spent his PAC millions on 2024 and isn't much in the midterms. And so this Republican operative wrote an entire article screeching about Donald Trump stealing money from the party, basically getting all this money from the party and not doing anything to give back to the Republicans who have like stuck their neck out for him, because Donald Trump is friend to no one. He only cares for himself. And he has to ask, which is a very good question, what are the hundreds of millions of dollars that the RNC, that the donations from voters gave to Trump, where are they going? Because if you remember, the RNC actually pays for all of Trump's legal fees right now. After a year after the election, RNC still spending hundreds of thousands to cover Trump's legal bills. Unironically, they are literally spending hundreds of thousands, and this was back in January, millions of dollars on Trump's legal fees just to keep him out of water, to stop him from making the party look worse. It's actually hilarious. He's a fucking virus. He's a parasite. All he does is take. He sucks off of the host and he gives nothing else. It's actually really funny. And so they've started to snub his speeches. They've started to drop him subtly, quietly, a little here, a little there, start to not want to deal with him anymore. And this was even written not too long ago, once the home of Trump used to always call into Fox News. They used to have him on speed dial, just while he was in the middle of press briefings, while he was in the middle of presidential briefings, he would call into Fox News. They don't care about him anymore. They have a new best friend. They have a new best friend. And it's Ron DeSantis. Donald Trump spent his entire presidency railing against everybody who didn't fall exactly in line, springing up hundreds of copycats and pretend Trumps all around the country. And then one finally popped off. Ron DeSantis, governor of Florida, finally popped off. And he goes apeshit. He loses his fucking mind. He is mad because Donald Trump is because Ron DeSantis is less stupid Donald Trump. DeSantis is still stupid. And DeSantis, I don't feel like he would do that well on like a presidential bid. I think he's, once again, people said this about Trump, but still saying that Remember, 2016 was a very, very, very close race. What was it? 34,000 votes across 3 states. It was an incredibly close race, and Hillary Clinton was very unliked. With that being said, DeSantis has started to do all of the things that Trump wanted to do. You know, he's crazy hard right wing. He's taking on the validity of the elections. He's attacking minorities. You know, he has the power to do it because he's governor. He has less checks on him since he has a Republican House and Senate. You know, he's helping Republicans across the country try to usurp and overturn their legal bindings to stop them from doing exactly what they want, right? It is very, very Trumpy. Very Trumpy. And he's following in the same exact footsteps. He's just smarter Trump, and Trump hates it. According to a report from the Rolling Stone, former President Donald Trump has been raging at and ridiculing Ron DeSantis as the Florida governor has been rising in the polls and as a rising star in the Republican Party. Now, actually, a really curious thing is that DeSantis has actually overtaken Trump in certain states when asked, who do you want to run in 2024? Even this new poll shows Trump losing ground to DeSantis and a potential 2024 matchup. And that's why a lot of people, and this is why a lot of people and this is why Trump and MAGA world, some of them are starting to turn on DeSantis, but no more than Trump, who sees that his spotlight is finally being taken over and he hates it. And it's fucking hilarious, okay? There's a vibe shift between Donald Trump and Fox News. One of the biggest things that finally broke the camel's back was that Donald Trump was trying to force Fox News into following in the same footsteps as him when it comes to overturning the election. And the real hate for Fox News came when they factually reported that Donald Trump lost Arizona and Donald Trump lost Georgia. That's when everything started to fall apart. That's when Donald Trump started to boost up RSBN, who has white nationalists and neo-Nazis as political talking hosts, Newsmax, OAN. We talked about OAN not too long ago. That's when those channels started to come up because Donald Trump really hated Fox News and boosted those other channels for his own gain, sending a lot of his followers there. And Fox News lost a lot of followers to them. Now, it didn't last, but it's very funny. They do not like each other nearly as much as they wanted to. All right. And another to bring insult to injury, DeSantis is running for re-election in 2024, still hasn't asked for Donald Trump's endorsement. Still to this very day has not asked for Donald Trump's endorsement. He doesn't need Trump anymore. He doesn't want Trump anymore. And it's really funny. It's also scary for us, how there's more people starting to be like him, and more people starting to be somewhat successful in that. Someone a little smarter than Trump, which is dangerous. A little smarter, just as evil as Donald Trump, who's able to rise through the ranks. I don't know what the future holds for Ron DeSantis. It's possible that there could be another turn in the political shift. There could be another vibe shift that could lead a lot of Trump Republicans in the dirt. We're already seeing a bit of that right now, especially when it comes to a bunch of Trump endorsed Republicans getting absolutely clapped in primaries, getting absolutely clapped in head-to-head matchups against Democrats. We've seen a lot of that type of stuff, how a lot of them are losing and a lot of them aren't making it nearly as far as Donald Trump would want them to, and a lot of MAGA Republicans would want them to. And now we see a lot of people like rhinos, and you see a lot of people like Steven Crowder. And we'll talk about another person. You know how remember when we watched Steven Crowder when Trump's house got raided? Remember when he hammered against the Republican Party and said that fucking Mitch McConnell, Marco Rubio, Ted Cruz, all of them need to actively be working and make it their policy platform to destroy the FBI, or else he's not going to vote for them. These are untenable positions between that, your insane maggot Republican, and your normie, I was going to say I just want the trains to run on time Republican, but sure. and the normie, I just want the trains to run on time Republican. It's kind of hard to be able to bridge that gap between these two when they want so many different things and they're not going to give an inch and they're all insane. And this was the big one. This is the big one that really sent Trump over the edge here. Listen to this.
And I'm delighted he's with us. Governor Ron DeSantis from the great state of Florida. Governor, why are these failed left-wing governors deciding to hit you all of a sudden? I mean, you're just the guy, you're the man of the moment.
You're the man of the moment. You know what? And I don't show you this just to show how Republicans like Laura Ingraham and conservatives have started to really fawn and circle around Ron DeSantis as him being the new like rising star in the party. But I will say, you know what was going on? Was with this noise. It's a recording. It's a recording of a recording of Fox News. So it's ass. But you know what was going on at the same time as this speech, as this talk? A Trump speech. Trump was giving a speech at this very moment. And instead of covering the Trump speech, they decided to bring Ron DeSantis on to change everyone's minds and have them forget about Trump. Isn't he a Nazi? No, I wouldn't say he's a Nazi, but he gets really mad when you ask him to denounce Nazis who like him. He gets really mad. Fash, at least he's fash. You know. You said it, not me. Laura Ingraham has been known to really not like to be kind of done with Trump. Oh, hey, look, it's him. Laura Ingraham specifically has been known to not like Trump that much or want to turn the page on Trump. Fox News host Laura Ingraham on Monday said Americans might be ready to turn the page on Trump. People conflate Trump with people's overall sense of happiness in the country. Donald Trump's been a friend of mine for 25 years, and I'm always very open about this on my show. But we'll see whether that's what the country wants, Ingraham says on the podcast. The country, I think, is so exhausted. They're exhausted by the battle, the constant battle. They may believe it. Well, maybe it's time to turn the page if we can get somebody who has all of Trump's policies, but who's not Trump. And that's where Ron DeSantis comes in. Has all of Trump's policies, but is not Trump. And you see a lot of them who've never really liked Trump in the first place start to jump ship a little bit. Get on the new train, right? But yeah, DeSantis has been like a horrible authoritarian in his state, 100%. We didn't cover the story necessarily, but Ron DeSantis, during COVID, when Florida was the COVID hotspot of the planet, there was a whistleblower who said that DeSantis's government was lying about how many people were getting COVID and that they were not telling the truth to the government and to the media about how bad COVID really was in the state. You know what happened to them? Ron DeSantis sent state police to that person's house, raided their house, pointed guns at them, and dragged them to jail. That's what happened. It's very curious what's been going on. DeSantis just recently arrested a bunch of people for early voting. Yeah, he's starting to persecute some people who early voted by trying to prop them up as being, martyrs for the stealing the election sort of like mob, but all they did was vote early. Nothing happened. It was insane. What were the charges? For revealing private, confidential state secrets, right? So that's what he charged. That's what he tried to charge them on, or tried to get this person on, because this person, they still had their login for their time at the health department, for the Florida Health Department, and so they got the information and tried to give it to the media to whistleblow about how they're lying. He got that, and he tried to shut them down and then tried to arrest them for it. It was really bad. He's a really bad person. Now, with that being said, and with Laura Ingraham even trying to jump ship as well, Fox News, sorry, our good friend, even Alex Jones, has started to wean off of Trump and onto somebody else. Listen to this.
I am supporting DeSantis. I see the real sincerity. I'm a DeSantis guy. This is my
I'm a DeSantis guy.
See the real sincerity. I'm a DeSantis guy.
I'm a DeSantis guy. Holy man, he doesn't live in Florida. He has no clue if he's going to even run for president. He's already picked his new Führer. He's right there. We got him. I am too a piece of shit. I am too a horrible person. I too want to be a part of a party that should be illegal in a civilized society. And this is what happened when Donald Trump actually found out. So this one didn't go by, okay? This one didn't go by Trump, okay? So after he heard Alex Jones say this shit,
I'm a DeSantis guy.
Trump actually tried to call him. To yell at him. Alex Jones missed the call. And then he tried to call him back. Trump didn't pick up the phone. And then I think he blocked his number. And now he's like, whoa, wait, Mr. President, Mr. President, please, it was just joking. Come on, I'm not cheating. Come on, babe, please. What? Listen to this.
This is my emergency message to you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I know you've tried to reach out and I missed the call. I'm only for DeSantis and that I've abandoned you. That's not true. It's the contrary.
It's babe, please. Okay. It's not what it looks like. I am not for her. Okay. I promise. Come on. Take him if you call me back. He's just my friend. He's just a friend. The pettiness is Trump is the most petty boy. Trump is by far the most petty boy. Okay, he can't have any of this. Remember how he gets on literally anybody who speaks out, who steps out of line. The moment they step out of line, he rains down fire on them instantly. Holy shit.
Mr. President, I know you've tried to reach out and I missed the call. I'm only for DeSantis and that I've abandoned you. That's not true. It's the contrary.
Please. I just like you're just not around as much anymore, and we get lonely. And like DeSantis, he's just been around a lot. I mean, I promise. It just oh my gosh, the baby drama between these guys. Holy shit, it's insanity. It's wild. It was just a joke, babe. Please. Yeah, I did fuck her, but it didn't mean anything. I was thinking of you the entire time, babe. Please, call me back. Pick up the phone. Ben Shapiro, who's always hated Trump. The Republicans are losing steam in the 2022 election. There are some reasons for this. The Democratic upswing in the wake of Dobbs being the most obvious factor, but something else is going on here that represents a deeper problem in the Republican Party. The GOP is miscalibrating the very nature of the American political scene right now, based on a myth. In fact, the entirety of American politics is based on dueling divisions of the same false mythology, the mythology of the emerging Democratic majority. All right. Democrats have banked on this myth since 2012, believing excuses in their cultural and economic excesses. This is untrue, and this led them to an electoral box crayon as many minorities turn away from their woke progressive outreach. So this is like, we talked about this a little bit more. We talked about this before, how specifically Latinos were in the last two elections have shifted a bit away from the Democratic Party. It's still not like most Hispanic people vote for like Republicans or Republicans now. It's just not as lopsided as it was previously. A lot of that is because a lot of Hispanic people, now I can say this, a lot of Mexican people are racist as fuck. Okay. I'm sorry. I don't know if I have any Mexican people in chat, especially any like second, third generations people in chat. All right. I've been around some Hispanic people. A lot of them are racist as fuck, okay? A lot of people were like, why the fuck do people like, why the fuck are so many Hispanics like buying into like Nick Fuentes and stuff. We talked about that, like another little Hispanic boy with like CP on his phone who liked to share it with his Groiper buddies and everything. A lot of Hispanic people love the sort of like Trump fuck these people coming over the border type. I climbed up the ladder, but then they pull it up behind them. Like I'm one of the good ones. Fuck the rest of you all. I got mine. Fuck you. Type of like idea a lot of Hispanic people have. No, obviously this isn't all Hispanic people. It's a lot of, especially a lot of like younger Hispanic people. Their parents are a little bit more like that. Their grandparents, their like uncles and nephews are like that. I'm a first believe it or not, but a lot of first immigrants are conservative as hell. They just hate racism. Yeah, a lot of it's kind of like the big reason for why a lot of Hispanic people in the country don't like vote for Republicans is because Republicans are even more racist than them. It's like we would vote for you, but you just hate us so much that we're going to have to either not vote or vote for Democrats. Okay, and that's how it works for a lot of people who are in the country. Now, a lot of them get whipped up into the same culture war. A lot of them on the border in like Texas, Arizona, Nevada, New Mexico, Florida, even a lot of Hispanic people have really bought into the culture war, really bought into the great replacement meme that conservatives have been trying to push. Even them, they're like, yo, I'm one of the people here. It's true. They're trying to replace us. Us? Us? It's like play that fucking like Uncle Phil Fresh Prince from Bel-Air sort of. It's like oh yeah, because a lot of them they do like they bought into like the great replacement thing, and then they're like, yeah, so true, they're trying to replace us, we need to do something, and then the Republicans are like, we but it doesn't stop them. A lot of them actually do. And that's something that we need to deal with. Biden isn't helping. Biden specifically snubbed a lot of Latino voters in 2020, which needs to fucking be undone. Democrats need to not take minorities for granted. For one, for electoral reasons, and two, like, you know, just like if you don't care about anything else. But for us, moral reasons, they're still people and they deserve to be taken care of. But, you know, wacky thing to say people deserve to be taken care of. Republicans have also banked on the great replacement. That's what they're trying to do. To the extent that they believe in the magical person like Donald Trump can defeat it. This means that when Trump is attacked, Republicans immediately return, making him the centerpiece of the conversation, and this harms them electorally. Now, people like Shapiro are out there who believe this, and like all of the other people, but I don't want to make you feel like the entire party is now like dumping Trump. It's not true. Prosbiak, who has a similar following to Ben Shapiro, who is hard right, crazy, like Trump branded sex doll, sort of like parasocial relationship with Donald Trump, weirdo. Republicans must move beyond Trump to keep focus on Biden's disasters. Jack Prosbiak just says straight up, no. Hey guys, we need to not just like worry about Donald Trump and actually worry about things that are happening in the country. No. Just no. Any rationality behind it? No. It's Trump's successes that highlight Biden's disasters. Yes, DeSantis 2024. You mean Trump DeSantis 2024, and then Trump 2024. The girls are fighting. I like Trump, but too much baggage at this point. Yes, let's choose our candidates based on how much our opponents react to them. So the girls are fighting, okay? They're in the trenches and they're attacking each other. They can't choose who to go with. The parasocial love they have for Donald Trump, or the factual reality that DeSantis would probably be better to some extent. It's really bad. I love conservative infighting because when they're not fighting each other, they're fighting to make your life worse. And I want to remind you of that. No matter what really goes on, remember, what Republicans really fight for is to make your life worse. That's all they really care for. You're not rich. Okay? A lot of you aren't white. And even if you are white, a lot of your lives are going to become worse as well. There are a lot of very, very poor white people who suffer a lot under Republican rule, who may not realize that it's really them who's put them in that hole in the first place. You're not there. You don't pay their interests. They don't care about you. They'd be more than happy to send you out to die, to build and use your body as another brick on their ivory tower that they stand above you with. But I will say we're reaching something incredibly interesting, which is this party that has turned itself into the Trump party, dealing with an issue, standing by Trump completely, unquestioningly, or trying to move on to something else for any sort of success anywhere in the future. And their complete militant inability to look at a situation rationally at all is going to be their downfall. But like I said in one of the last videos, when they fall, we rise. The country, the world, the solar system, good Lord, is better when Republicans aren't in office. And this infighting only leads to things becoming worse. As Trump is still around, as Trump Republicans are still around, as they become more energized and have started to separate themselves from even the Republican Party, they split votes to a massive degree. Like something that we saw in Alaska. Remember the Alaska race where Paltola, the Democrat, won because they were split between a normie Republican and a Trump Republican? And then the Democrat came out on top. Now, that's not going to be all of the time everywhere around the country, but we're going to start seeing a lot more of that. They're tearing each other apart. And that's really good for us.